Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, August 21st. A lot to talk about this morning. First of all, we'll provide an update on the Atlantic Basin tropical scene. Then we'll focus in on the threat of strong to severe thunderstorms later today, early tonight, in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the Northeast U.S. All of this will be followed by a much cooler air mass that will arrive on Friday. It looks like that cooler air will stick around this weekend, but as we talked about a couple days ago, the cool frontal system that will work its way through the region will kind of grind to a halt on Friday, and that will continue the threat of showers and thunderstorms on Thursday and into the day on Friday. It should clear out of here for a decent weekend in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Certainly it'll remain comfortable this weekend, although it could be somewhat unsettled at times. First of all, on the tropical scene, indeed, we do have a tropical storm named Chantal. It is basically a minimal tropical storm, sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, no threat to the U.S., basically moving in this fashion east to east-northeast, and will continue to stay out over the open waters of the Atlantic. Meanwhile, there's another area, perhaps of more interest, right here near the Bahamas. This is an area of low pressure right now with showers and thunderstorms, and it should slowly move to the north and west over the next several days and certainly can intensify. We'll have to keep our eyes on this particular system over the next several days. It'll be something to monitor going into next week along or just off the eastern coast of the U.S. But again, Chantal, the third named system of the season, pushing away from the U.S. out into the open waters of the North Atlantic. Well, before we focus in on the threat for strong to severe thunderstorms later today, one more thing I want to talk about with respect to the tropical scene or hurricanes in general. 50 years ago this week, one of the great all-time hurricanes, Camille, made landfall as a Category 5 storm in Mississippi. It wreaked havoc on the Gulf region and then took a course to the north and then to the east, and really produced some incredible rainfall amounts in Virginia. This part of Virginia right here, where some 2 feet of rain fell in a short period of time, 8, 10, 12 hours in that part of the nation. Only 4 Category 5 hurricanes have struck the U.S. The strongest one in terms of central pressure was the 1935 Labor Day storm that cut across the Florida Keys between Miami and Key West, Florida. This particular storm, Camille, the second lowest pressure upon making landfall. And really to this day, we don't know how strong the winds actually got in this part of the Gulf region here, because so many instruments were damaged by the winds. We estimate 200 mile per hour wind gusts associated with Camille as it made landfall. There have been 2 Category 5 hurricanes making landfall in subsequent years. Hurricane Andrew, 1992, right in this region right here as a Cat 5. And then Michael, last year, which struck the Florida Panhandle, initially was ranked as a Category 4 upon landfall, but in the months subsequent to landfall, NOAA has run through a reanalysis, and basically it bumped up the surface winds an additional 5 knots, which pushed it into Category 5 status. So in the record-keeping era, there are now officially 4 hurricanes that made landfall in the U.S. as Category 5, and this one, about 50 years ago today, was an amazing storm. So take a look at the homepage on the PerspectaWeather.com website or the historic events page. Very interesting story. There are reports from people in this part of the nation way up north of where it made landfall, where there was catastrophic flooding. That lightning was so intense it lasted all night long, never let up, and it was basically a daylight throughout the nighttime hours. And I believe it was August 19th into the 20th of 1969. So an amazing story. Hurricane Camille, 50 years ago this week. Well, let's start focusing in on the Mid-Atlantic region of the Northeast U.S. in terms of a potential severe weather outbreak later today, early tonight. This is the radar loop right now, and not much going on along the I-95 corridor region. Some area of showers and thunderstorms moving off the Jersey coastline. Notice, however, to the west, there's already a line or two of some showers, maybe an embedded thunderstorm. May end up being multiple bands of showers and thunderstorms later today, early tonight. And again, there are ingredients coming together that could generate strong to severe thunderstorms later today, early tonight in D.C., and especially in Philadelphia and New York City. A better chance for the severe weather will be north of the Mason-Dixon line, but I think even all the way down to D.C. there can be some severe thunderstorm activity later today. Any storm can produce heavy rainfall, potentially damaging wind gusts, and hail is a possibility as well. Well, this is the outlook from NOAA's Storm Prediction Center, which is based out in Norman, Oklahoma, with a slight risk of severe weather, basically from the Mason-Dixon line up to the north and east along the eastern seaboard, Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, and even all the way down to D.C. There certainly is the threat for some strong to severe thunderstorm activity later today, early tonight. Let's now talk about the ingredients involved. Well, actually, there are several ingredients that will contribute to a very unstable atmosphere later today, early tonight in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. First of all, entrenched, very warm and humid air. Moisture is not an issue here in terms of the potential of heavy rainfall. Very high dew points for any time of the year, but especially this time of the year we have excessive humidity in the lower part of the atmosphere. Number two, we have a impressive upper level feature sliding into the I-95 corridor region later today and early tonight. And finally, third, there is a trough of low pressure in the lower part of the atmosphere, really a surface trough that will also help to destabilize the atmosphere later on today. First of all, let's take a look at the 500 millibar vorticity forecast from last night's 0Z GFS model run. And here we see a little dip in the height pattern here. Again, a little trough in the upper part of the atmosphere, and there is some vorticity, which is basically spin in the upper part of the atmosphere that leads to upward motion in the lower part of the atmosphere. Let's push forward here, and here it is early this afternoon, sitting right on top of or just to the west of the I-95 corridor. That will certainly be a contributing factor. You combine that with a surface lower atmosphere trough and very humid air, and you have the potential for heavy rainfall and potentially damaging wind gusts and hail with strong to severe thunderstorms. And here we go. It just moves to the east overnight tonight. And then notice deep upper level low situated over southeastern Canada on Thursday. This is the system that will slowly swing a cold frontal system through the Mid-Atlantic region during the day on Friday. But because of the nature of the wind flow in the upper part of the atmosphere, that front will not come blasting through. It will kind of grind to a halt on Friday. Here we are now Friday morning here, and the front will be kind of hung up as it pushes into the Mid-Atlantic region, and that will continue the chance for some showers and thunderstorms, not only tomorrow and tomorrow night ahead of that front, but during the day on Friday as that front arrives right in this region right here. Now, in addition to that threat for rain, there will be much cooler air arriving on Friday. High temperatures in Philly and New York City, for example, on Friday, very well could be confined to the 70s, maybe near 80 in D.C., and that comfortable air will certainly stick around on Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully that front continues pushing to the south and east. I'm a little concerned, could still be somewhat unsettled on Saturday as well. But much of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, should turn out to be nice and certainly comfortable temperatures and humidity levels. Well, let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps from last night's 0Z GFS model run. Some scattered showers right now, but multiple bands of showers and thunderstorms will form over the next few hours. And let's now jump ahead to the early afternoon. And here's that trough of low pressure. Notice a dip in the isobar pattern right here later on into the afternoon hours. That's an impressive trough of low pressure in the lower part of the atmosphere, and you combine that with upper level energy, and voila, you can have some strong to severe thunderstorm activity later on today, especially when you have dew points way up in the 70s in some spots, providing or indicative of very humid conditions. And here we go, by tonight, pretty widespread area of showers and thunderstorms. And again, the threat exists in D.C. and especially Philly and New York City for strong to severe thunderstorms later today, early tonight. Notice on the charts here by this evening, strong high pressure showing up over south central Canada. It's always a beautiful thing to see this time of the year because high pressure to the north and west, just like in the wintertime, brings cooler air into the mid-Atlantic region, or ultimately usually results in cooler air. But first, we have to get that frontal system to clear the area. And here we are later tomorrow, still a threat for showers and thunderstorms, perhaps not as numerous as late today and tonight, but scattered showers and thunderstorms later tomorrow as that front arrives here. And again on Friday, still kind of hung up. That frontal system hangs up, especially across the southern part of the Mid-Atlantic region, let's say D.C., the southern part of the Delmarva Peninsula have a little better chance of showers and storms on Friday. All areas should feature much cooler conditions on Friday. Certainly a drop-off of, let's say, 10 degrees from today and tomorrow to the high temperatures expected on Friday. Again, maybe confined to the 70s in Philly and New York City on Friday. And look at that. High pressure over the southeastern part of Canada, the northern Great Lakes region. That ultimately will win the battle here and push the front farther to the south and east, so that for the weekend we should have comfortable conditions throughout the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and Northeast U.S. This is the forecast map for Saturday, and certainly comfortable air coming our way. It arrives on Friday, still unsettled though on Friday. Could be some shower and thunderstorm activity, but likely the weekend turns out okay, and comfortable air, comfortable temperatures, and humidity levels. But before we get there, watch out for the possibility of some strong to severe thunderstorms later today and early tonight. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.